What's up, guys? Josh here. Today I'm going to go over how to rebuild your Weber downdraft carburetor. This one is a 48 millimeter. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing that you want to do whenever you pull this out of your car is drain your fuel bowl out so that you're not cleaning everything and getting a huge mess all over your desk. But anyways, you can pretty much take this whole thing apart with a flathead and a Phillips head screwdriver and a 5/16 little socket and a 10 millimeter wrench to get your to get the drain plug out. So I got a rebuild kit here. I'm not going to disassemble the throttle linkage, because those can be a little bit of a pain in the butt to get back together correctly, and that's not really why I'm getting into the carburetor here per se. I'm getting into it because I haven't cleaned it in probably probably a year and a half is the last time that I cleaned it. So I figured I would dig into it and clean it up a little bit. You can see where I made modifications to the K&N filter thing, because it covers up your idle jets, and I was having such a problem getting this thing tuned correctly that I was having to take all of this off every time I needed to swap out the idle circuit jets, which is a big pain in the butt. So I cut that out, which made it a ton easier to tune this thing and actually get it properly tuned and running correctly, so on and so forth. So obviously I've got a K&N kit on mine because, hey, daily driver, a lot of you won't have this, so you'll be able to skip this step. You'll go straight to just taking off these air horns, and then you'll instantly be able to get to the, I don't know, 10 or so screws that are below this that allow you to take the top of the carburetor off. So once you get all that, this comes off nice and clean like that. Set it over here out of the way. Pull this up. Yes, I know you don't have to do this. I did this because K&N, their kit recommended doing that, so I went ahead and did it. So here you've got your 7 screws, and then you are physically in the meat of the carburetor. You don't have to take the jets out to do this. These are aluminum, so you don't have to be. These shouldn't be really tight. You should be able to break these loose pretty easily. I bought my rebuild kit from Carbs Unlimited, or carburation.com, I think is what the actual website is. I've bought a lot of my jetting stuff through them, since you can't really find much legit Weber stuff here without having to order it from overseas and waiting, a month and a half to get it. The kit didn't come with a big enough needle jet, so I'm probably going to leave the existing needle jet in here, or needle valve, or whatever controls the flow of fuel into the fuel bowl, and so on and so forth. So once you get all of these loosened, you can pick it up and off it comes. And there's the main bits of the carburetor. I'll go ahead and pull these screws out and take a look at that. Valve. Yeah, so mine's a 300. I think the replacement is a 250. What is this one? Oh, it's a 200. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to replace that. Anywho, I am going to replace the paper gasket behind it, and obviously I'm going to replace this gasket. So you have your two pump jets. If you have an old style, ooh, those are dirty. Damn. If you have an old style, these screw in instead of pop in like that. Nice. These look good. Cool. Then this comes off. Your paper gasket that seals everything. This one's seen some better days. It's been on here for quite a while. That goes straight in the trash. There's your pump jet. Oh, there's still some fuel down in there, but you know you're never going to get it all out. I should have a some safety wire for this bad boy, but I do not. So I'm just going to reuse what's on here, which has already been broken a couple times for me replacing it. And then we'll pull the fuel bowl out. Not the fuel bowl, the fuel float. And you need to be very careful with this due to if you mess up any so the fuel float is probably the hardest thing was the hardest thing for me to get right on this car. I had a lot of flooding issues going around corners and so on and so forth, kind of like a Holley carburetor would on a Rotary. Turning right, I believe. No, turning left, I had problems. It was flooding in one of the. Somehow it was flooding in. It was stalling the car out, and come to find out, it was because I was doing two no-nos instead of just one no-no. I had the float set too high, and I was also adjusting my fuel pressure, and that's two no-nos. You don't. So these are very sensitive to fuel pressure change. So if you change your fuel pressure, it changes when this opens and closes, and so on and so forth. So you don't want to do a lot of that. You want to change it and set it, and then leave it alone, and then adjust your float from there. I'm going to pull the main jets out and take a look at them. So I'm running a F7 emulsion tube with a 205 jet and a 160 air corrector. And my car runs pretty good. I don't have the $3,000 hiccup very much. If I'm cruising at around $3,000, every once in a while it might stumble a little bit, but I don't have the $3,000 bog, and I've pretty much eliminated that because it's running so rich on the idle circuit. But hey, daily driver drivability, that's not good. It shouldn't be that loose. That should be a snug fit, and it's not. I'll have to crimp that up a little bit more. Idle jets. So my idle jet is a 10 years later after I unscrew it. It is a 90 corrector 70 F10 jet. Alright, so we got our bypass valve down here. I'm going to go ahead and take it out. This is where, when your pump jets go, this is what regulates the pressure on them. This is I actually run an open one. A lot of people run, a lot of people run a closed one, so you get 100% of the fuel through the pump jets. I don't know if my pump jets are stock or not, but they seem to be pretty wetting of the carburetor whenever you hit the pump jets. So I don't feel like I really need that all that much. So you can see what I'm talking about there. See, pump jet. You can see the fuel pumping back out there. So let's see here. So I'm going to go ahead and set this bad boy on its side. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and pull these out too. So these are your... So when somebody says that they have a 48 IDA, these and the thing below it are what determine that. There we go. So this, I have 42 millimeter horns in there. They're actually pretty good in there, so I'm just going to leave them in there. There we go. Wow, this is dirty. This is these are 45s, and the Venturis. That's what they're called. The Venturis are 42s, and these are the whatever. So set those over there. And check everything. Those look good. Those look good. So now what I'm going to do is lay this over. It's going to spill. Let me clean some of that up real quick before it does that. It smells like a two-stroke in here. Wonder why. So, okay. I got pretty much all of that out of there. So, go on ahead and give that a good cleaning. Dry that up real good. Real good. Alright, so go on ahead and, so what I do with these is I always bottom them out and then unscrew them all the way to make sure that I put them back where they were. So that one was a 1 1/4 out. These could probably be replaced. They're showing some wear, but I don't have any new ones. So they're both a 1 1/4 out. These should both be relatively close. They should be within like 1/4 of a turn or a half a turn of each other. Obviously, it's you're going to have variation between rotor to rotor or whatever you're running your Weber on. And that is pretty much a Weber disassembled. I mean, other than taking the butterflies apart and everything else, which I don't want to do because that, as I said before, that linkage is a pain in the ass to get back together sometimes. And there's no real, I mean, this leaking down here around it, that's common on all carburetors. You're going to have a little bit of leaking there. So I'm going to leave that the way it is, and move forward, start cleaning my cleaning everything real good, real good. Went out and bought some carb cleaning brushes thingies here to get everything cleaned out for the most part. So I just start anywhere in general, really. You just want to make sure that you get all of it. So I got some really fine ones here that are for those tight areas that are hard to get to, like in here. Make sure those are cleaned out real good. So what I'm cleaning right now, I don't know if you can see it, is the passages for the air-fuel mixture for the air-fuel needles. There's 2 holes, and that's a little big for the other hole. See if I got one that's smaller. Don't believe I have one that's smaller. I believe that is my smallest size. So this is a little big for the small hole. It's like perfect size to get in there. So it's cleaning out. So what I'm cleaning out is the, well, there's all the rest of the fuel in the carburetor. There's these two holes right here, and that's what I'm cleaning out. And that's your needles, where your needles pass through. Make sure those get real clean. Alright, now I've made a huge mess here. Lovely. I'm going to die of gasoline. Remember how I said to make sure you have everything emptied out so you don't have this? Yeah, you're still going to have this problem. It's just going to be a lot worse if you didn't do it. Didn't clean it out. Alrighty. Here's a... That's too big. But anyways, moving forward. So those, I'm comfortable feeling that those are pretty clean. And you can always clean stuff more, but you're only going to get so far with everything. So now what I'm going to do is take some brake parts cleaner and get after a lot of this junk that's on the side of it and try to clean the carb up overall. I'm going to inspect the pump mechanism, make sure it looks like it's working good, not dragging or anything on it. That looks good. Good. So I'll be right back. I'm going to grab some brake parts cleaner. So Next, I'm going to throw the whatever. This has got a fancy name. I can't remember what it's called. Pump jet bypass or something. That's just what I'm going to call it. Stick that back down in there. Wow, my hands are shaky. Usually I've got really steady hands. It's probably because I'm hungry. Anyways. So, got all the jets back in. I keep thinking that's a piece of dirt down in there, but it's not. It's freaking, it's a casting bubble or whatever you want to call it. I'll take that off. And put a new washer on it. Old washer. Got all my parts over here. So what I got in this is obviously the paper gasket to replace, a new ball jet, needle jet, whatever you want to call it, and a new filter, some new O-rings for the pump jets that I'm definitely going to use, a couple of O-rings and such for paper gaskets for like different parts, like underneath here, and I think a couple go on the shaft. But other than that, that is pretty much it. It's pretty basic. I didn't do like a balls to the wall one because I didn't really need it. I like to visually check and make sure that the one that I'm using matches the one that I'm replacing. It looks like it does. So I'm going to go ahead and use it and tighten that down so I don't forget that it's loose. And have gas running all over hot exhaust, which would be just lovely. And that's tight. Alrighty. Next, I'm going to take that off, which is that a 10? No, it is a 12. Which I will return with a 12. I say it's a 12 and it'll end up being like a 13. Oh, it is a 12. Alright. Cool. Alrighty. Damn, that needed to be replaced. That looks rough. So I don't think this carburetor's ever been rebuilt, other than me like taking it apart to clean it. So a lot of this stuff is the original stuff for whenever this carburetor was bought new, which I don't know when it was bought new. I just know it's a newer style Weber. I don't know what year it was bought. You'll get a pull that off. Alright, I believe this is a 19, but I'm not quite sure. So I took the filter out a long time ago because people say, oh, it interrupts how well it runs and so on and so forth. And I don't think I've had anything but bad luck since I removed it. So I'm going to stick the new one in there. And hope that it, in hopes that it helps my trash problem that I've been having. Looks pretty clean in there, which is good. So that'll work. And tighten this bad boy up with, crescent wrench tight. That way you can never get it back off again. So all of those are replaced. Cool. Now it is time to put everything back together. I'm gonna inspect these and make sure they're clean. Oh yeah, they're gonna be clean because they're huge, so they shouldn't be dirty. The openings in there, if you can see the opening, that opening matches that one there, so it's massive, so it shouldn't have any problems with that. Those are 45-inch trees, by the way. The smaller ones are. This is always the hardest part, putting these back in. There you go, and they snap in, so they got a little snap button thing, and they can only go one way. So, boom, ta-da! All right, so that's in. So now I'm going to replace the little rubbers on the pump jets. They were nasty. They were stuck to the actual pump jet, so they needed to be replaced. As I was saying, the ethanol has eaten these rings up, so they are sticking to the pump jets. These will be a lot tighter and a lot newer, so they should work a lot better. Man, just getting everything lined up is kind of tricky. Try the other side. Maybe that's the problem. There it goes. Snapped in good there. Might have had the wrong side on the wrong side. So the screws that's supplied in this kit are if you have the old school screw-in style pump jets, which I don't have. So I ain't got to worry about that. All right, those are back in there, nice and good. Next is the infamous float, and if you're ever wondering, it tells you on the float what the measurement's supposed to be from the top. So the way you measure it, let me just go on ahead and go that way. The way you measure it, you stick it in there. There's a kit that you buy and it sets it up, and you measure it from across the ridge, and with taking this out, and it's supposed to be at like 25.2.5 or 25 point something millimeters or something like that. But anyways, I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, F it. Since mine's already set, mine's set for 4 psi through the carb, and we'll see if the me putting the filter in there affects it in any way. I don't think it will, but it very well possibly could. My ghetto safety wire here gets the job done. Alright. So at this point you don't like much. It's just little nuance things from here on out. And hopefully this helps my car run a little bit better. It's been running kind of off lately. Doggo's home. Hey, doggo. So yeah, it's been running a little weird lately. I'm starting to think that the rear rotor is going down on me, but it ain't nothing but a thing. Let me go grab some needle nose. Oh, and that just broke. So now I am going to have to actually go buy some safety wire from somewhere. I've got some at the race shop, but I don't have any here. So I'll probably do that. Next time I go out there, I'll get some that I can use. So next you get the thing, and it goes on the, and it's just like, whoop. Does help if you, It's interesting, the print goes down. It's odd. Usually they want to advertise it. So with that, one of these goes to this bad boy, but since I've got an Earl's fitting on there, I don't want to mess with it since that one's fine. It doesn't leak or anything like that. This, I don't know where this goes. Unless it's a spare. It might go for the, yeah, I bet that's where it goes. It goes right there. Probably. But anyways, at this point, you're in the home stretch. Everything's just going backwards from the way you started. Putting it all back together, and yeah, your seven screws, and then back to the putting that stuff back on, and you can slap it back in the car, fire it up, and see if it runs. Woo! Alright guys, if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to try and do more informational stuff like this. I know a lot of people liked my Rotary basics for WEBERs. This right here should help out a lot of people. With cleaning out WEBERs and so forth, and rebuilding them. I mean, these are easy carburetors. Even the side drafts are easy. They're all pretty easy, which is why they're kind of finicky to be street driven, as they were purpose built to be simple and work very well on racetrack, and so they don't really adapt to driving on the streets very well. But, you know, it is what it is. And they run good. Really good. So, until next time, guys. Happy brapping. Josh out.